What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? That was a terrible clap. Today, we have the PSA Dagger. If you live under a freaking rock, PSA came out with the Dagger several years ago. They're very popular. They are a budget-friendly Glock clone. So they're based on the Glock, but they're really, really budget-friendly guns. They're available in different colors, different calibers, different sizes, different optics cuts, different sights. There's a ton of different options. So if this particular one is not your jam, check the PSA website because they have a bunch of different options. Now, when I say different calibers, the different calibers have different names, like the 5.7 has a different name, whatever, before you type all angry in the comment section. Anyway, though, let's get right into it, and let's start with the magazine. It comes with one 17-round magazine, and it is a Magpul magazine, Magpul brand. However, again, this is a Glock clone, so it will take all of your Glock magazines. So if you have Glock magazines laying around the house, no big deal. It will take all of those Glock magazines, even those nice big 33-rounders. The grip on this gun, I like the texture a lot better than a Glock. The Glock grips are okay, those pyramids or triangles, whatever they are. This aggressive grip feels a lot better in my hand. I definitely like the aggressive texture. And I like how they brought the texture up above the magazine release. It's a little thing, but it's a pet peeve of mine, so I like that. The width of the, not the width, but the from front to back on the grip is a little bit thick, so it's fine for my hands. I have large size glove hands. It's fine for me, but if you have really small hands, like one of my buddies had really small hands, and he didn't like the way this gun feels. So if you have some baby tiny hands, you may want to see if you can get your hands on this gun to see how it feels in your hands before you make a purchase. But for me, I'll take this grip over a Glock grip any day of the week, not even close. Magazine release is one of the few things I don't really like about this gun. There's a lot of things I like. Magazine release is not one of them. It's a little bit harder to reach than the magazine release. We're going to continue to compare it to a Glock. There's a little bit more pressure. At first, I struggled a little bit. Once I got used to it, it wasn't all so bad. It does drop the magazines freely, but the magazine release is okay. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's just know that it's okay. The trigger guard does have an undercut on it, and I bring that up because I want to say I don't get Glock knuckle. Every single Glock I shoot for any 100 rounds or more, I always get Glock knuckle. If you don't know what that is, you get a little blister on your knuckle on your middle finger, and I get it with every single Glock unless it's customized. I did not get Glock knuckle with this at all, and I shot this a ton. So very, very cool. The trigger. The trigger's interesting. When I first saw the trigger, I was like, ew! It's a hinge trigger. It reminded me of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1.0 triggers, and those things were terrible. So my thought instantly was, this trigger is awful. And then I played with it. I was like, okay, take-up's not terrible. The wall's okay. The wall's a little long, but it's okay. That reset is good. The reset is tactile. It's audible. I love the reset. The reset's really good. So the trigger's not as bad as I thought it was going to be when I first saw it. As always, we'll take that 10-second break. We'll get up close and personal with the trigger so you can be the judge and you tell me what you think about the trigger here. What did you think about the trigger? I really hope you guys get down in the comments and let me know. It's a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. It's not a Nighthawk Wilson combat trigger, no. But for a $300 to $500 gun, it was a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. All right, the rail. It is a single cutout like Glock. I tried Streamlight, Surefire, Olight. I tried a really small, not small, but smaller compact Phoenix on here as well. They all fit no problem. So it's going to fit most of your lights. If I didn't mention it, this gun is the same size as a Glock 19, pretty much. The same size and weight as a Glock 19, so most of your lights are going to work on there. No safety, nor should it have a safety with the striker-fired gun. I personally don't want a safety, and this one doesn't have one, so yay for that. Slide release is very much like a Gen 3 Glock. It's very easy to use it as a release if you like me and you want to. It's in a good spot, so I never rode the slide release. I did not have that issue with this gun, even though I do with some. And it is not on the right side of the gun. It's strong side only, so you lefties are bumming, but who cares about you lefties anyway? The slide has a DLC coating, a black DLC coating. And before I forget, I want to point out how well it's holding up. I've had other slides with DLC coatings, and they don't always hold up so well. This is holding up excellent. When we get to the testing, you'll see I drew this gun from a holster a ton. Maybe more than any other gun that I've tested. I don't no particular reason. I just did a ton of drawing from the holster, and there's very, very little holster wear, like almost none. It's holding up extremely well. Yeah, I don't really see any. So I was very impressed with that. Besides the slide, the barrel also has a DLC coating as well. Now the serrations and the aesthetics. I think the aesthetics are good. I think it's a pretty good looking slide. Again, better looking than a Glock. And the serrations are good. I am pleasantly surprised with the serrations. They're deep enough. They're angled forward slightly, just a little bit. There's enough of them. There's not like it only has 1 or 2 cuts. I think no matter however you choose to run the gun, the serrations are fine. There's nothing wrong with the serrations. And the sights, it doesn't have plastic sights, which is great. You guys know, if you've watched any Glock video of mine, I hate plastic sights. And this has metal sights, which is great. And again, it's available with a bunch of different types of sights. Some branded like Ameriglow, some generic ones. I went with an all blacked out set of suppressor height sights. I knew I was running an optic on this gun. I'd run an optic on everything, and I would much rather have a blacked out set of sights than tritium dot or something like that. So suppressor height, the back of the front sight has some serrations to cut down glare. I don't care. I don't usually look at it. The rear has a ledge for one-handed manipulations if you need to. And again, more than anything else, suppressor height blacked out, perfect for the optics cut. Speaking of the optics cut, let's go over that and how PSA does their optics cuts. A little different than some of the other companies. So each slide will only take 1 optics cut. So there's 1 slide for the RMR/Holosun, there's another slide for the Delta Point Pro and EOTech, etc., etc. So you have to get the slide that you want to work with your optic. I went with the RMR Holosun because that's the most common one. I have, I don't know, a dozen different red dots that fit on there, so that's what I went with. There is no accessory plate, which is good. It screws right down to the slide, so it's a very, very solid mounting platform. And I did have, throughout the testing, if you look, I did have 2 or 3 different optics on this gun, and I did do some basic destructive testing, you know, dropping the gun on the ground, racking it off a barrel, basic stuff like that, just to test the optic. But that also does test the pistol, the slide, and the strength of the optic system. And I had no problems, no issues. Everything was good to go. One of the last things I have to talk about is the takedown. It takes down the same as a Glock. So if you know how to do that, it is no different. We're going to make sure it's unloaded because negligent discharges suck. Pull back slightly on the slide, pull down on the takedown lever. Like a Glock, you do need to pull the trigger, and then the slide comes right off. If you look inside the frame, it's very much like a Glock-esque. Again, it's a Glock pattern gun. The locking block is extended. It's pretty long there, but very, very much like a Glock. If you don't like that trigger, if I didn't mention it, you can replace that trigger. It does take Glock triggers. Your recoil spring is metal. It is not plastic, which is great, and it is captured. And now your barrel. Your barrel is 4.5 inches. It's a standard 1 in 10 twist, like I already mentioned. It's a DLC coating. If you look on top of the hood, there is a little bit of good, honest wear on the hood. A little dirty on the inside, but besides that, it's holding up well, no issues. I did notice an M on the bottom of the barrel, so that makes me wonder who's making that barrel for them. And I was trying to go through. I used to work for a barrel manufacturer. I used to work for Roscoe, so I'm pretty familiar with the barrel companies. And I was trying to figure out who M is. What barrel company starts with the letter M? And I couldn't figure that out, unfortunately. All right, you can take a look at the dimensions, the weight, and the price. I will compare it to a Glock 19 dimensions in weight. Obviously, it's going to be less expensive, but I wanted you to see these sizes so you can understand how close and similar they are. The price ranges a little bit. The price ranges from $300 to $500, and I've even seen them less than that when you catch them on sale. You can buy the frame and the slide separately as well if you want to kind of customize it, but the prices are all over the place, again, depending on the features you want. The one thing I missed on the barrel is it is available in a threaded barrel as well, so if you ninjas want to run suppressed, you can absolutely do so. And we'll put some affiliate links down there as well. It's a good gun. It's not bad. So if you want to pick one up, I will put some links down there. If you want to use those links, I appreciate it. It helps me out. And yeah, let's get into testing. 700 rounds, guys. I was trying to hit that 1,000 round mark because PSA is a budget brand. And I don't have a ton of experience with PSA guns. I've shot their AK. I shot their AK a lot. I have a lot of rounds for that, and it's holding up well. I point over there because that's where my safe is. But the PSA Dagger I have zero experience with, so I was trying to get to the 1,000 round mark, and I couldn't quite get there, but I got to 700 rounds, which I think is a lot for a budget-friendly gun. I probably shot more in ammo than what the gun cost, but I love you, and that's what I do. Again, ton of drawing from the holster. I don't know why, no specific reason, but I did a ton of drawing from the holster. We plinked on steel. We did a bunch of transitions, all sorts of normal range drills, magazine exchanges. Did a lot of magazine exchanges because in the beginning, I really struggled with that magazine release. Once I got used to it, it wasn't so bad. But I did a lot of magazine releases just to get used to that magazine release. Again, a couple different optics, several different lights. I went inside the waistband, I went outside the waistband. You get the idea. I think I did a very, very thorough testing. And here are my pros and cons based off that testing. Value, man. The value that you get with PSA is just, it's tough to beat. They come with the value and they put out a gun. It's made in the USA. You get a good gun at a great price and it's still made in the USA. I like the grip texture. I like the grip shape. Everything about the grip is good. The serrations are good. I'm very pleasantly surprised how well the slide is holding up on this with all of the times I drew from the holster. The optics cut setup is good. You may not like it that you can't put different optics on here, like I should say different footprint optics on here, but for me, most of the optics I use are RMR or Holosun anyway, so it was not a big deal to me. I love that they don't come with plastic sights. I was very, very happy that these come with metal sights. I don't know if their really budget model does come with plastic sights. I should have checked that before the review, but I didn't, and I'm sorry. The trigger, I don't know how I feel about the trigger. It's definitely not a con. I looked at the hinge trigger again and went,
get that. Could you try again?
She's always listening. Siri's always listening to me. I looked at the trigger and thought M&P 1.0, ew, gross. But then when I felt it, the take-up's not so bad. The reset's really good. So I lean to put the trigger in a pro, not in a con, if anything, which is just crazy. Looking at that trigger, I didn't think so. The only true con I have is the magazine release. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's not so bad where it's like I will never use and shoot this gun. But it was a little tough to get used to. It's a little stiff, and that's one of the few things I don't really love about the gun. Overall, for $300 to $500, we can't complain. PSA, once again, comes with the value, big value. I would absolutely use this if I couldn't afford or didn't want to afford anything more expensive. Like if I didn't have a wall of guns and a safe of guns, I would absolutely have no problem using this for EDC, self-defense, home defense, jack of all trades type guns, whatever you're using it for. I'd be a-okay using it because my experience with the PSA Dagger has been excellent. All right, let me remind you of the affiliate links. If you want to pick anything up from PSA, please. That's what keeps this channel going. Click the link, buy something from PSA. Definitely helps me out, and I definitely appreciate it. Email marketing, email blast. I'm not going to spam you 1 or 2 emails per month. YouTube stopped notifying people when I put out videos, so this is my answer to that. I'll send you the giveaways I run, the deals, good deals I find, and I'll send you the videos that I put out that month. And that is it. I will not spam you, I promise. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and what used to be known as Twitter. If you want to know what I'm reviewing right now in real time before the review comes out on YouTube, please give me a follow on those platforms. The links are down below. I appreciate it. And I'm done talking and I'm done chilling because I don't have my swag on today. I forgot to mention that, but that's okay. Most important, thank you for watching. If you think I deserve it, if you want to hear more of my rambling and dad jokes, please like, comment, subscribe, enable the bell notification. Definitely subscribe and enable the bell notification. We're this close to hitting 40,000 subscribers in 3 years. I think it's been 3 years. Sure, in 3 years. That just blows my mind. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Peace!